Hello everyone, great to have you here for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be talking about winter. Most importantly, any winter storm activity does start to increase right around the 20th through the 25th of January. We'll look into all that and all the details of some potential East Coast snowstorm activity and lake effect snow totals and the tropics. Yeah, we're going to be still watching some tropical moisture that's very unusual for this time of year. And not only that, we're going to be watching a major Arctic blast as we got a piece of the polar vortex really breaking off, especially mid to latter part of this week, heading on into the third week of January. We'll see which areas stand the chance of seeing the most sustained Arctic blast. Let's get into it. All right, so our future radar here, that storm system that was across much of the south and mid-Atlantic is on its way out. Behind it, we'll see some scattered snow showers and flurries. Of course, up here in the northeast, parts of New England, you're seeing those flakes flying as we head through this evening. That pulls out, and look at this. We got our next system ahead of it. There's going to be some warmer air getting above freezing in many of these areas as we get some snow squalls just west of Chicago here. That's going to be pushing to the east towards Detroit and Cleveland right around 10 p.m. on Sunday evening. So watch out. May get some bursts of snowfall. And then that moving through the 13th here through noon. Colder air, you will feel it in Cleveland and Toledo, Erie, Pennsylvania. This is a sharp cold front in here, and you could have some snow squall warnings out ahead of it. So watch out as we continue through the 13th here through 7 p.m. The lake effect gets cranking behind it here. And as we look across the rest of the country, yeah, you can see here across the Gulf Coast, we're going to be watching that rainfall increasing Monday morning across the Gulf Coast. Could have some embedded thunderstorms and even some snowflakes and freezing drizzle here across the Appalachians. All right, so picking up where our future radar left off, you can see as we head throughout the rest of the weekend, yeah, things are looking pretty good here. Let's switch over to our winter precipitation type mode here. And then I'll show you the European model as well, because things get a little bit more interesting on the European model. So as we head through the 14th, the 15th, you can see what's happening, though. The lake effect snows are becoming very prevalent here. Northeast Ohio, all the way up to Syracuse, Buffalo area, Erie, Pennsylvania, up to the Tug Hill. We do start to see that moisture across the Gulf of Mexico as well. So that's going to be pinwheeling southward towards South Florida. But as you look, for the most part, as we head through this week, the big story is going to be that cold air hanging out across the lakes, the Ohio Valley into the northeast. And we'll just watch that in time. We do have a storm system that tries to move through around the 18th and the 19th. It looks warmer on this run. You can see it's kind of a more progressive flow pattern as well. With north of this line, it could be snowfall. It doesn't look that significant, but it could be accumulating snow advisory criteria at least. So we'll keep an eye on it through the 18th into the 19th. You see that pushes well up into the Canadian Maritimes. High pressure building in behind it with that proverbial lake effect snow really kicking in behind it. As we head through the 20th, though, this is the area of low pressure the Euro is really blossoming, and we'll have to watch it. It hangs out across the Gulf of Mexico here, and it could be pinwheeling some snowfall up through the Appalachians. And watch this. I caution you because the last run of the GFS had this way, way out to sea. Look at it. It has a snowstorm developing on the northwest edge of this low pressure system and a little bit stronger. And the European has this even closer to the coast. And look at the 22nd here into the 23rd. This would promote a major snowstorm across eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, Delmarva region. And look at that, very close to the New England coastline. Of course, it takes it out to sea. But we have many chances of potential snowstorms and winter storms here. So if we take a look at the European model, this is the interesting model here. As we pull that system out into the Atlantic here, you know, it's just off the Delmarva coast in the Outer Banks here. That pulls away into Sunday and into Monday. Look at this surge of tropical moisture across the Gulf Coast areas. We also have a little Alberta clipper moving through the northern Great Lakes with a little bit of a short wave here. And you get the idea here. It's a much quieter week, so to speak here, except for these snowbelt areas. That's where we're going to focus the snowfall. We do dry it out along the Gulf Coast with the exception for the Texas, Louisiana coastline here. High pressure pretty much in control of much of eastern North America here, with another system moving through here around the 18th. So we do have that bend in the isobars. We're going to see that wind blasting out of the northwest here. And then as we go out here in time towards the 20th, I want to draw your attention here. We can't go out further than this on this run of the model of the Euro, but we do start to have a storm system organized across the southeast and Gulf Coast. This may try to make a run up the U.S. East Coast come the 21st, 22nd, and into the 23rd. All right, so I wanted to show you the surface plot of the European model because we can really get a good handle going further out here. So we're going to go beyond, say, the 19th and the 20th here. Look what's happening. This is what I'm concerned about. We have this low pressure along the Gulf Coast, and it's been hanging out here. We got the snow developing on the northwest side of this system. Now look at, we got several pulses of energy that are going to ride up along this front. Granted, this is the 21st, so we're out 10 days. So much can change between now and then. But look at this. This is signifying an interior heavy snowstorm across parts of the Northeast as we head through Tuesday, the 21st, into the 22nd. It looks a little progressive, but we do have those areas of low pressure riding up along it. And with this Arctic blast behind it, we're going to continue to watch for that winter storm activity to potentially increase through the mid to latter part of January. As we take a look at those snowfall amounts, yeah, they're going to be piling up, especially, you know, we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and into early Thursday. Northeast Ohio, Northwest Pennsylvania, Western New York, that's where you could see 6 to 12 plus inches. And look at this, as we stretch into Sunday the 19th, we get a little bit of a storm kicking from the Ohio Valley into Tuesday the 21st. Look at this. Could this be a mid-Atlantic Ohio Valley into the interior Northeast storm? Look at that, 6 plus inches, 6 to 12, all the way from Kentucky, southern Ohio, all through much of Pennsylvania here, upstate New York, well into New England here. Talking about 6, 8, 9 inches on average here. Now, looking at the latest GFS, hot off the press here. Yeah, look at that. The lake effect really kicking in, especially Tuesday through Friday up here. It's really starting to crank. And then parts of the Appalachians, we get a storm system. GFS kind of backing off a little from it, maybe a little interior storm. And look at that's that storm that flares up around the 23rd, 24th, right around the Outer Banks, eastern North Carolina, just off the coast. So that's a development we'll have to keep a very close watch on. And here we go, stretching into the Northeast. Let's take our latest GFS model here. Make sure, there we go. So, as we head through the next, well, look at the weekend here. Yeah, we get a couple inches just northeast of Cleveland, all the way up to Erie, just south of Buffalo. The Tug Hill's really getting the bullseye here. And then as we head through Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, look at this. Cleveland right around 3 to 4 inches, and then northeast of Cleveland up to Erie and south of Buffalo. That's where you're going to see that 6 to 14 inches. Tug Hill could be topping out around 18 plus inches here as we head through time. Next weekend, right around Sunday the 19th, we get a little front moves through and a little bit of a widespread 1 to 2 inch snow event here. And then the GFS showing that East Coast system right around the 22nd. So watch out. This could be further west. And if it is, snow totals could be heavier. And you're looking at the European run. Look at this. So yeah, a couple inches as we head through, much of this falling later Saturday here into the Northeast. So you get a nice white coating. But look at this as we head on into Tuesday. Look at this lake effect blossoming, especially Erie, Pennsylvania, right around 8 inches. And just south of Buffalo here, 10 inches. Tug Hill up towards 20 inches. And then look at through Thursday. Yeah, this takes us through most of the week. You see Cleveland right around 2 to 3 inches. So we'll watch out here. Of course, off the Finger Lakes, Cortland County, right around 4 or 5 inches. Ithaca right around 3 to 4 inches. All right, so our NAM 3 kilometer. Take a look at our mesoscale snowfall totals. These falling mostly Saturday here. So 1 to 2 inches of some nice coating. And there we go. This takes us through Monday morning. You can see the lake effect really doesn't get cranking. This is mostly with a synoptic system, but we do get some enhancement from the southwest here. So we could see up to 1, maybe 3 inches in some of these more persistent snow bands. Now let's take our mesoscale model across the Midwest here. Yeah, you're getting a generalized 1 to 3 inches up here across much of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, and northern Minnesota as well. So the upper air pattern is going to get this whole thing cranking. As we continue through next week, we got a few impulses of troughiness, But the one I want you to watch as we head towards the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th, look at this propagating. Not only do you have this big massive ridge across the west coast of North America up to the Gulf of Alaska, but you have this big trough digging across the deep south into eastern North America right around the 21st and 22nd. It does kind of pinwheel and cut off here across the southeast, but you get the idea. Big stormy times are ahead, especially as we head towards the third week of January. And as we take a look at the European run, very similar picture here. As we go out here in time through the 17th, 18th, look at this big trough just cutting off across the southwest here. That attempts to move east here as we head on to the 23rd and the 24th. The Europeans actually going with more ridginess as we head towards the end of the month with flipping towards a trough out west. But I do caution you, that will be temporary. Look at this massive, that's almost like an Omega-style ridge all the way up to the Gulf of Alaska, which is going to signify eventually towards the end of the month a massive trough across the east. As we look at our NAO index, one word of caution, we are negative right now, right around -1. Models are taking it more neutral and eventually positive towards the end of the month, which would signify that we may see more ridginess across the U.S. East Coast. But still, we got that volatile pattern, so I'm still thinking some cold air outbreaks and some snow chances. And if we take a look at our MJO index, this gives us a great idea of storminess, especially in eastern North America. We are heading right into, it's basically phase 8 here, and we'll be propagating through phase 1 through the end of the month. So those are the phases 7, 8, and 1 that get you into that East Coast troughiness and storminess. So we still, even though the NAO is starting to go more neutral and eventually positive, we still see some storminess as we head through January. Now, that might be a different story as we head towards phase 2 in February. And I wanted to show you this major winter storm that unfolded across much of the South and much of the Mid-Atlantic and Appalachians here. Yeah, look at this. So we saw some big snow totals from north central Texas all the way through Arkansas, western Tennessee, extreme northern parts of Mississippi here, where you actually saw 6 to as much as 12 inches in the purple zones, even through parts of the Appalachians here. You saw lighter amounts up here into parts of central and northern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia here, where you still saw 2 to 5 inches in many of these locations. And of course, you saw an outbreak of snow up here into the Ohio Valley, into the Northeast, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches on average. So yeah, this was a big storm system sliding off the East Coast as we head through the rest of Saturday. So looking at precipitation amounts here, liquid equivalent on the European, you can really see it's a quieter week. What's left over of that storm here along the Carolinas heading out to sea. You got some lake effect behind it, and the Gulf Coast area could see 1 to 3 inches of rainfall this week, especially early to midweek. But it's lake effect here that's going to be the big story as we stretch through the middle of the week. Now look at as we head towards the 20th, the 21st, into the 22nd. We're going to have to watch the possibility. The Euro is still holding on to the potential of an East Coast winter storm. And look at it does have a tremendous amount of moisture, tropical moisture to work with, 4 to 6 plus inches of rain down here across parts of Florida into southern Georgia and South Carolina. And before we continue with more weather coverage, don't forget, if you made it this far in the video and you like it, smash that like button, everyone. It really does help. Question or comment down below. I'd love to read your questions or comments. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe bell notification button so you're alerted with all my future weather video updates. And if you haven't caught my winter 2024-25 outlook, it's a link in the description down below and at the end of this video. Let's continue. Now, I wanted to show you something out here with the LA wildfire situation. Of course, we continue to have those Santa Ana winds blasting offshore here. However, watch what happens here as we go out in here in time. So yeah, you're going to have some Santa Ana events here. However, as we head towards, we actually got to make it this direction though, through the 19th and the 20th. We have a storm system that may try to make a run for the West Coast. It's pretty far out though here. Look at the 23rd into the 24th. You can see we do have a storm system that may make it just to the northwest of Los Angeles. It does look like it's in a weaker phase, but there may be some raindrops later on in the month on the way. So let's take a look at wind gusts here on our European run. The Santa Ana winds really get cranking again. Unfortunately, gusts up to 50 and 60 miles an hour through those passes once again, through those mountain ranges coming out through the valley locations, but mainly up in those hilltops. And then look at this, Tuesday. Yeah, this is where things, let's get this out of the way, things really get cranking. Some of these red zones could be up in the 40, 50, 60 mile per hour range out of the east-northeast here. So watch out those areas that are very wind prone with these Santa Ana winds. So yeah, it looks like the Tuesday time frame, Monday night into Tuesday, is the worst for these wind speeds. But look at by Friday next week, it does start to tone down a bit. And we can also see on our mesoscale model, there's the wind speeds increasing as we head later Saturday night, in particular Sunday. There's some of those yellow zones up towards 60 miles an hour. Just northwest of Los Angeles here and north. These areas through the passes getting really pummeled. Not good for the wildfire situation. And then look at Monday. We start to stretch this all over again as wind speeds approach 40, 50, maybe even 60 mile per hour gusts as we head into Tuesday. And starting off with the tropics here for the Caribbean, I don't want to leave you guys out. I'm going to keep your tropical forecast going through the winter season here into hurricane season. This is some great news. Look at this as we stretch on into Sunday. Into Monday. Let's get that thing going. There we go. So look at this. We got those northeasterly winds, those northern facing coastlines from the Caribbean islands all the way over to Central America. You will see some scattered showers, but you do notice that it is on the decline here. That's some great news. We still have some cloudiness across the area. And as we continue through the 18th here, we do start to see a bullseye just north of Panama and east of Costa Rica here. That's going to start to solidify into a low pressure system, and that will likely track up across Central America. It will be much weaker than previous ones. We do have a little bit of a wave here through Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada area as we head through the 21st. You see what's happening, though. We have a big low pressure in front up across the Yucatan here. So Belize up to Cancun, you're going to see increased tropical moisture here. Also up towards Florida here and the northern Bahamas. Things are going to get very stormy as we head through the 21st into the 22nd here. You can start to see that frontal boundary making it down through Honduras. Most of the rest of the Caribbean remaining dry. But look at this. Honduras over to southern Belize and Guatemala. You could be seeing some very heavy tropical rain here as we head through the third week of January. And that focuses right along the northern coast of Honduras. I'm going to get into those rainfall amounts momentarily here. And that frontal boundary tries to push towards Jamaica as we head towards the 24th. It actually makes it through the Cayman Islands and much of the Bahamas, except for the Turks and the Caicos. So for your tropics here for the European run, let's kick this up a notch here. Yeah, it actually is looking drier as we head through Sunday the 12th here into Monday. We do have some showers around Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica here, parts of northeastern Jamaica right around that Portland parish here. So as we continue in time, most of the precipitation is actually going to be up here across the Gulf of Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, and starting to stretch once again into the northern part of Honduras here. We do have showers moving through Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada, and up towards Barbados, Martinique, these areas. So watch out. It's going to be interesting, but not too bad here. Maybe a few showers in northeastern Jamaica, the northern facing coast of Puerto Rico, and Dominican Republic as well. But look at this as we head through the 15th, 16th, and into the 17th. You don't see a whole lot of weather here. There are drier times ahead, and this is encouraging because this is supposed to be your dry season. So let's take a look at our mid-layer and moist and drier analysis here, thanks to Tropical Tidbits. As we head through time, you can see this week, look at this. We got a lot of dry air wrapping in across the Caribbean. There's a few glimmers of moisture here across the southern Caribbean, but we'll watch it here. The good news is you're heading deeper into your dry season here. So hopefully we can get some drier times. However, right around Tuesday the 21st, we do get this frontal boundary coming down across the Yucatan. And this could draw up some tropical moisture, not just from the southern Caribbean here, but also the eastern Pacific. As you can see, look what really starts to happen right around January 24th here. You do get this big ball of moisture across the southern Caribbean again. So here we go. We're drawing up some significant rainfall, and that is going to be on the increase as we head through Jamaica, parts of the eastern and southeastern Bahamas, through Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So it looks like it gets hung up and stalled here the last week of January. All right, so precipitation amounts here, liquid equivalent. Obviously, it's all liquid across the Caribbean through this week. The European model going northeast Jamaica, right around Portland Parish, in excess of, here it is. We're up towards, say, 49 millimeters. Not too bad. I mean, most of Jamaica staying dry. That's some good news. But look at down here towards Costa Rica, eastern Nicaragua, northern Honduras, Belize. It is a drier week. We're averaging about anywhere from 10 to as much as 40 millimeters. So that's good news. The heavy stuff will be down here towards 60 to 100 millimeters. As we take a look at our longer range GFS here, yeah, as we get towards that third week of January, that's what I'm really concerned about. Look at this massive tropical moisture plume that gets cranking. That's what that frontal boundary that's going to progress south and eastward here. And if we just go over some of the totals, you can see much of Jamaica, northeastern Jamaica, getting up towards close to 100 millimeters. Most of Jamaica, though, right in that 30 to 60 millimeter range. Now, look at the northern coastline of Honduras. That's what I'm really concerned about, in excess of 300 millimeters. That's getting you up towards 5 to 8 inches plus. And Belize, not as bad, 40 to 80 millimeters on average. And look at down towards Costa Rica here, 483 millimeters. That's getting you beyond the 12-inch mark in many areas, 10 to 12-inch plus. So watch out. The northern coastlines of the Caribbean islands also getting hit beyond 60 to 90 millimeters. And heading to the eastern Caribbean, this is where things get cranking with a little bit of tropical wave activity along with those northeast trade winds here. Look at this. Trinidad, Tobago, all the way up to Grenada into the central part, St. Vincent area. That's where we could be seeing 60 to as much as 100 millimeters of rain, most of this falling into the third week of January. And look at towards the eastern part of Puerto Rico here. You could be up towards, say, 70 to 100 millimeters. That's getting you up towards 2.5, 3 inches. All right, so let's take a look at your Canadian weather forecast here. Yeah, it starts off kind of quiet. Let's get to the more active weather here as we head through the 14th here. You got this Alberta Clipper style system through southern Ontario. That's going to be pushing to the east here towards New Brunswick and especially Nova Scotia, where you could get at least several centimeters of snowfall here. Now, there's another Alberta Clipper that drops south. This is going to be with some more colder air. There it is across southeastern Ontario and Quebec. That pushes to the east. Of course, we get a little bit of a lull out here onto the west coast of Canada over towards British Columbia. And then look at this. As we head towards the middle to latter part of the month, things get really quiet until about, here it is, the 23rd. We do have a big Arctic blast heading southward here. Could have some snow squalls along that line. And then another Pacific system gets really cranking out west here. So let's just progress on the timeline here. Yeah, big Alberta Clipper dropping down through Saskatchewan, Manitoba. But look at both coastlines. For the most part, you're looking quiet. Maybe just a few scattered snow showers and flurries from Prince Edward Island over to Newfoundland. And taking a look at Canadian snowfall amounts here. Yeah, Southeast Canada and the west coast of Canada. Those are the two areas we're going to be watching. Southern Ontario, Quebec. You could see over 20 to 30 centimeters heading all the way through the 26th of January here. Also around Nova Scotia, these areas, southern New Brunswick, up towards the Canadian Maritimes, you could see 20 to as much as 30 centimeters of snow. Out on the west coast, with that mountainous terrain, that's where you'll see over 70 centimeters or higher. Even stretching into the prairie areas of the provinces here, we could see upwards of 10 to as much as 20 centimeters. So watch out for that. And here's our snowfall here on the GFS. Yeah, eastern Canada, especially much of Ontario, Quebec, you're getting over 15 to 30 centimeters of snow here, several inches of accumulation all the way over to the Canadian Maritimes. Some of these areas averaging about 7 to as much as 20 centimeters. West Coast, that's where you're up beyond 70 to 130 centimeters in those higher elevations. And looking at the liquid equivalent precipitation totals, lining up with the snowfall very well. Most areas with that snow getting 20 to as much as 50 millimeters of liquid equivalent. West Coast is the exception, over 100 millimeters in many areas, eclipsing 150 to 200 in some of those higher elevations. And looking at the GFS here, liquid equivalent precipitation, yeah, it's pretty well similar here, anywhere from 20 to 50 millimeters on average across eastern Canada, and the west coast well above 150 millimeters. And looking at the western Pacific tropics here, the good news is we don't have a whole lot to talk about. We do have a lot of tropical moisture. We may be looking at a big tropical wave between Vietnam and the Philippines here. Another one southeast of the southern Philippines. We'll continue to watch it here, but the good news is it doesn't look like there's going to be little, if any, development over the next several days. It looks like much of the moisture sinks to the south, and that's in response to this frontal boundary that's kind of stalled up across this region of the northern Philippines. It's going to just hang out, and most of any tropical waves that try to head through the region will get sheared apart. Now look at this on the 19th. Much of the Philippines, with the exception for the extreme northern and southern Philippines here, will be getting just some scattered showers. So it almost seems like we're heading into a dry period here, with most of the tropical wave activity remaining well to the south until we get to the third week and to the fourth week of January. We start to see some of these tropical waves try to flare up here, but for the most part, they're staying away from the Philippines. And here we go. We've got the precipitation totals. Heavy tropical rains continuing, especially south of the Philippines. You will get some on the northeast coast of the Philippines as well, but we'll watch these tropical waves propagate. And before we continue with more weather coverage, check out these amazing, awesome maps from my affiliate here.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease, or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
As we take a look at temperature-wise the next 6 days or so, look at the cold air blasting across the northern plains. A little bit of a warm-up in the Ohio Valley in the northeast. It'll feel like a heat wave as many areas get above freezing here into Monday as well. But look what's coming behind this Arctic front. A big Arctic blast as a piece of the polar vortex breaks off here. You can see those temperatures going well below zero across Minnesota. And look at this. This might actually be a little colder than the previous cold air from last week, where we got down. Look at this. We could be low to mid-teens in the Ohio Valley and eastern Great Lakes as we head on into Tuesday. Those winds will be howling, making those wind chills extremely unbearable. Look at this. We have 20s all the way down to eastern Tennessee, northwestern parts of North Carolina here. So things getting really cold, even 20s all the way to the I-95 corridor in the northeast. Thursday, the 16th here. That colder air pivots towards the east here. We do see a warm up here across parts of the plains. And then as we head towards the 17th, you do start to see that colder air reloading here. A little bit warmer into the northeast Friday into the 30s, but watch out because the next Arctic blast is reloading up here in north-central North America. The extended forecast from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. The first part of the week here, late weekend into early week, will feature 30-degree temperatures, 30s. So we'll get above freezing, but watch that. The Arctic front blasts in Monday night into Tuesday. Look at those highs back into right around 20 and lows in the teens. Lots of clouds and wind. Unfortunately, the wind's coming back with scattered lake effect snow showers on Tuesday.